Dear speakers, friends and guests, welcome to Angels Week in United Kingdom. I am Hakan Candener, Country Chair of United Kingdom for Angels Week. It is with great pleasure to welcome you all to this event, focused on global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion here in United Kingdom. We are united in our commitment to address the pressing issue of financial exclusion and harness the power of education to drive positive change to transform our lives, communities and economies around the world. I would like to express heartfelt thank you to all our speakers, to our Global Chair of Angels Week, Baybars, and to you for joining us in this forum. Your commitment and dedication to cause of financial inclusion are truly inspiring. I also extend my appreciation to the universities, higher education, government, and the financial institutions, and in the United Kingdom for their support and collaboration. In the next 2 hours, you are in a good company. We are very honored to have change makers in UK as keynote speakers and roundtable panelists who are active leaders in fintech, education, startup, banking, and innovation. Together, we can shape a more inclusive and educable future for all. I wish you all an inspiring event. Thank you.
Dear presidents, dear ministers, dear country chairs, and dear participants. Business education and entrepreneurship education have come a long way in the past 2 decades. The mindset of students of entrepreneurship has changed as well and will continue to evolve. More and more business organizations are adopting an entrepreneurial spirit. Even conservative businesses are making it a priority to boost their entrepreneurial energies and promote a culture of creativity and innovation. Most innovative business ideas come from young people. Current and future entrepreneurs and investors need specialized knowledge and a highly complex set of skills to move innovative ideas into the market and ensure they succeed. All this suggests that it is time for higher education institutions to take on a new role. They need to revisit their current business curricula and expand their offerings beyond the traditional concept of business education into a wider framework that bundles education, incubation, mentoring, technology transfer, and research and development. With this in mind, the stakeholders of the World Business Angel Investors Week have agreed on the theme for this year's week, which will now take place until 25th of June as global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. The week aims to contribute to the development of skills and expertise of students and faculty members alike, assist in the digital transformation of higher education institutions, and foster the kind of creative thinking that leads to innovation and eventual success in the ever-changing market environment of the 21st century. During this special week, all stakeholders and participants in the week's events will pause to reflect on their fast-paced journey to analyze why business transformation is needed and how transformation will support entrepreneurship and innovation that will boost economies, and to reiterate how entrepreneurial ecosystems can create more jobs, more wealth, and for more social justice in cooperation with key players in early-stage equity markets in the post-pandemic economy. World Business Angel Investors Week 2023 will feature roundtables that will provide a platform for entrepreneurs, angel investors, and academicians to explore the processes startups will go through in post-pandemic times. The week will also include discussions on the ongoing challenges entrepreneurs ventures phase in integrating the basic knowledge of strategic planning and will consider creative ways to overcome the challenges. I would like to thank in advance all the stakeholders and partners who will be contributing to the World Business Angel Investors Week 2023. They will be highlighting the importance of higher education to increase financial inclusion, the theme of this year's event. I believe to grow and thrive in a post-pandemic world, swift business transformation into a pandemic-proof organizational model is vital if we are to ensure the sustainability of world economies in the new normal. I would like to thank the organizing committee and the colleagues who will be taking roles as country chairs, global partners, keynote speakers, and panel discussion members. Their combined efforts will create value for the world startup economies, not only during this week, but in the future as well. They will focus on harnessing the collective knowledge of the world's most influential women leaders, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and artists with a view to addressing critical issues of early-stage equity markets in the new normal. The week will also be a great platform from which to campaign for solutions to such critical issues and other worldwide concerns at the United Nations, the European, and in G20 countries. The ultimate goal of all of the week's keynotes, discussions, presentations, and workshops is to agree on a common roadmap for entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs that will enable them to emerge from this pandemic period even stronger than they were before. We encourage all faculty members of higher education, angel investors, entrepreneurs, and policymakers to explore the merits of the World Business Angel Investors Week and take full advantage of its many benefits. I am confident that each participant in World Business Angel Investors Week will benefit from the collaborative ideas, know-how exchange, training programs, and workshops, and global networking opportunities that are offered. I believe that by working together across borders with a common vision and smart dynamics in mind, we are well placed to bring about positive change in global economy. I also want to invite all of you to join the World Congress of Angel Investors 2023, which will be in Durban of South Africa next November. I'm wishing you great success in your future endeavors, and thank you very much for listening to me. All the best.
Hello, I'm Anthony Rose, founder and CEO at Seed Legals, and I'm here today to go through the amazing changes in accessing capital, talking about if you are a student, if you're studying, if you're thinking about becoming a founder and raising equity capital, is that right? Are you the right person? Should you do it? So let's start at the beginning. Once upon a time, there was no such thing as fundraising. You had to go to the bank and borrow money. And even before that, once upon a time, if your father worked in the mill, you were going to work in the mill. But times have changed. There's unrivaled access to capital. For the first time ever, or in fact more than ever, there's the opportunity for anyone to become a founder and realize their vision. But of course, the fact that you can more easily doesn't mean that you should. And even if you want to, you now need to figure out, are you the right character for it? And if not, how do you evolve that character? So over the next 10, 15 minutes, let's explore that. So let me quickly tell you about my background. So once upon a time, I studied electrical engineering. I built my own electronics business in the days when you couldn't raise funding. So I had to build a proper business. I had to borrow money, actually from my parents, to buy some electronics and then make boards and then sell them at a profit. And I got to learn how to make a proper business. But these days, things have moved on. You can now raise investment in the UK. There are fantastic government initiatives to help you to raise from angel investors. So anyway, over the years, I was hired by the BBC. I used to head up BBC iPlayer. Then I left the BBC, built a startup, sold it. Built a startup, sold it. Got tired of paying lawyers and built Seed Legals. We're now 150 people, About 1 in 3 of all first UK funding rounds now happen on our platform. And from talking to tens of thousands collectively of founders and seeing many, many, many companies, I've seen what works, what doesn't, and I wanted to share with you how to help you on your founder journey. So the very first thing is, are you an entrepreneur? And I saw some stats that said something like 27% of school leavers said they want to become a founder. That was up from like 7% a decade ago. And the question is, great, the fact that fundraising, access to capital is much more democratized, does it mean that you are founder material? And from what I've realized over the years, the attributes of a founder are you love making decisions. If you don't like making decisions, you shouldn't be a founder. You should go get a job somewhere else because, when you work in a large company and a problem arises or a question arises, you can go ask somebody else. But if you're the founder of the company, there's no one else to ask. You can ask your co-founder. You might be able to chat with a team, but ultimately the weight of responsibility sits on your shoulders. So if you don't like making decisions, that's not the job for you. The next thing is all about pitching. So when you're a founder, you want investors to give you money. You want team members to leave their jobs and follow you. You want customers to get in and buy the things that you're creating and selling, the vision. So you need to learn the art of the pitch. And many founders come from technical backgrounds. I think I used to be an INTJ on the Myers-Briggs profile. The I is an introvert, but you need to reinvent yourself to be comfortable on stage, to be pitching, to be that extrovert, to have people follow you. And if you can develop that, that is essential. And if you can't, that's okay. You might complement yourself with a co-founder who can. And the other important thing of being a founder is to be able to take ownership. People need to look to you and see that you have a vision, you have the answer, and whether it's things about your product or whether the world changes and COVID hits and people go, oh, wise one, should we come to the office? Do we have a business? Will anyone get furloughed? You can't not have an answer. You don't know the answer. You're well outside your comfort zone. And if you love that or grow to at least be good at doing that, that is essential attribute for a founder. So if you can either be that or reinvent yourself to be that or grow to be that, then great, you're a potential founder. So the next thing is, what's the difference between an academic and a founder? Because I find academics often make poor founders. Or at least they have to rethink themselves completely, because when you're at university, you are given essentially funding, and your product output is, after several years, a PhD paper or some paper that you write that is peer reviewed, and your goal is to get a high mark after doing a lot of effort. This is completely the opposite of a startup. And in a startup, you get no marks for effort, you get marks and reward for people wanting your product and wanting to iterate and build very quickly. So in a startup, you don't know what the answer is. You want to build something, ship it very quickly, and even before you've built it, you want to prototype it to learn. So it's the complete opposite of academia. So if you're coming from an academic background or you haven't explored entrepreneurship yet, you want to think about a key thing that I've learned over the years, which is you think as a founder, your goal is to build stuff. And you then wake up one day and realize that building things is not actually what you want to do. Building things is the failure to be able to sell things without having to build it, because build it is a cost. So how can you test? How can you prototype before you build? Which takes me then from, okay, great, you figured out attributes of founder, switch tack from academic life to founder life. I'm now ready. I've got an idea. I've gone for a run. I'm in the bath or shower, wherever you have ideas. The next step is to work out, is it a good idea, before you go get investors to give you money, people to follow you, and you spend years of your life on it. Because the top tip is many founders think that they just need to go on and build it. And what happens is you wake up a year or 2 years later in a cold sweat going, oh my God, we built all this and nobody wants it. So really the key next step is if you have an idea, you want to validate that it's a good idea or not before you build it. So how do you validate? Well, of course, you have to ask people, but the biggest mistake people make, founders make, is they ask their friends, hey, I've got this amazing idea to do X using Bitcoin, blockchain, AI, isn't it awesome? And of course your friends are going to go, I have no idea what he's talking about, but I can't insult him, and he's put it in a way that sounds so attractive, I have to say yes. So people will tell you, yes, it's a great idea. And then you will mistakenly go off and build it. And there's an excellent book you should get called The Mom Test, which is like £12 on Amazon. And it's called The Mom Test because you might ask your mother, hey, Mom, I'm looking to do this amazing GPS-enabled bicycle lock with blockchain technology. If your bike gets lost in London, it will help find it. And your mother will go, I've no idea what he's talking about, but my son's clearly so clever. Yes, it's a great idea. And then you go off and build it. So what you want to do is you want to find real users of your products, potential real users, and then you want to ask them, is this going to be amazing? You want to ask them, how much would you pay for it? Have you looked for any others? Do you know of any competitors? And it's possible what you've got is unique, but it's also quite possible that what you've got is a vanity idea. You think it's cool, maybe you would like it, but no one's actually changing their behavior to get it. And if that's the case, learning early on that people go, I've not really looked for that. Now that you mention it, I don't think I'd buy it. You want to learn that before you've built it rather than after. So it's all about once you've decided you want to be an entrepreneur and you've got an idea, it's now about validating it before you build it. So the next thing is you've got an idea, you've validated, and now you're going to start your company. The good news in the UK, starting a company is super easy. You can do it for like £12 on Companies House in 30 minutes. It's fantastic. You'd be a director. You think you don't have a board, but you do have a board. The board is always just the directors. You probably want to find a co-founder. And my data on Seed Legals says that companies with 2 founders get funded slightly faster and get funded slightly more than companies with 1 founder or 3 founders. And more than 3 founders, it normally falls apart and someone leaves. There are just too many. And why 2 is the magic number? Well, my take is that for a founder or for a company, you really need between the founders 3 attributes. 1, the domain hustler, the expert, the person whose vision it is, who knows the market, who's on this mission to mother, dialysis machine, fix, medical, whatever. But the problem is they not know how to build it. So role number 2 is often the CTO or Chief Product Officer, the person who can help deliver the vision. And role number 3 is the Mr. or Ms. Money, the person who's going to help get funding, run it as a proper business, which often aligns with a CFO role. So now you look within and go, which one or more of these are me? And if you're all of them, which is unlikely, great, solo founder. But if, for example, you're the tech person, then you want to surround yourself with the business person or the domain hustler. And so often you might span 1 and a bit. So you may find another co-founder or maybe 2 co-founders. So finding co-founders is important. Incorporate the company, create founder agreements, and then, of course, once you've validated the products, you want to raise a small amount, maybe from friends and family. And then you might want to do an angel round and raise from angel investors. One question you might be having is, should I borrow money from the bank or should I raise investment? And once upon a time, you had to borrow money from the bank. There was no such thing as fundraising. But the problem is banks won't lend you money because it's far too risky. Banks might make a 8% return on interest, but that means that you have a 90% plus chance of success. Otherwise, a bank won't loan you money. So what you would do is you would raise from investors. And in the UK, you want to tap into something called SEIS, the Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme, which means an angel investor, that is someone investing personally in your business, can deduct 50% of the investment amount in your company from their income tax this year or the last year. And if they keep the shares for 3 years, they pay no capital gains tax when they sell it. And if your business goes out of business, they can write off the loss that they made against their tax. So this angel investors, individuals investing in early stage companies, maybe investing £500, but more typically 5,000 or maybe 10,000 pounds. You might raise 70,000 pounds from friends and family, from people investing 5 or 10K each. They would get their tax deductions. You do this obviously on Seed Legals. And now you've raised money to build a prototype, evaluate it. Of course, initially you would fund something yourself even before that step, because people aren't going to invest on a PowerPoint. You're also going to learn how to make a great pitch. And a pitch is selling a story. It's what's the problem you're solving? How are you solving it? What's the competition? What's your market opportunity and size? What is your team? How much are you looking to raise? Contact me to follow up. So you can see everything I'm saying here is about living and breathing the way that founders think and work and grow, how they iterate rapidly, how they pitch to investors, and how they walk the walk and talk the talk, so that an investor, when they see you as an investable founder. And on Seed Legals, there are tons of free resources. If you search for Seed Legals Pitch Deck Clinic, I go through about a dozen different pitch decks and analyze them. So all of the resources to help you, because the world is never more democratized in being able to raise investment, but you need to work super hard to cut through the noise to be investable. Good luck on your journey. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Chema Nguyen, and I'm the co-founder of CFT, the Center for Finance, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. And it's a great honor to be invited to the World Business Angels Investment Forum, an affiliate partner of the G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion. This year, the topic centered global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. I'm the co-founder of CFT, and we are the world's largest impact platform for education in fintech and the future of financial services. I also serve as a non-executive director of Passerelle Numérique School, advisory board member of EDEC, entrepreneurship expert Said Business School, industry fellow at Imperial College, and board member of the panel of the Association of Corporate Treasurers. I'm advising and I work closely with governments on strategy on new skills in tech world. And I'm the co-author of the largest fintech job report book. I'm based in the UK, London, and in addition to the UK, CFT is also present in Singapore and Abu Dhabi. At CFT, we've been extremely vocal for many years about the importance of education at scale in this new world of digital finance, about the importance of upskilling and reskilling workforce. That's why we're working with some of the largest organizations and governments in this mission. And it's my pleasure to give this keynote, the upskilling. Today with CFT, we spend a large amount of time with governments, policymakers, industry experts, entrepreneurs, and academia to find solutions to upskill and reskill talent in financial education for the new finance. And we believe that this new world of finance will be inclusive, diverse, innovative, and will have a positive impact on society and people. We are really privileged to have worked with amazing organizations from all around the world and to bridge the skills gap by cooperating with Institute of Banking and Finance Singapore, Skills Future Finance, EBI, the Egyptian Banking Institute with the Central Bank of Egypt, Abu Dhabi Global Market Academy, and to upskill the workforce in finance. And I will also mention the Budapest Institute of Banking in Hungary with the Central Bank of Hungary. The industry has seen a very deep digital transformation in finance, and it's critical. I would like to start with a question. What happened recently in technology? Technology is eating finance. A few years ago, Mark Andreessen famously said that software is eating the world, which was an incredibly concise, short, but powerful way to summarize one of the biggest trends transforming the world. To summarize what's transforming our industry, I could use a similar analogy and simply say, technology is eating finance. We could use and discuss all the ramifications of these statements, from business models to operating models, from who is doing financial services to a role of a bank. But what we really care about at CFT is this question: what about people? In a world of tech-driven finance, how do people adapt? So what happened recently in technology? ChatGPT performed well than 80% of the programmer on LinkedIn Python test. We have seen technology is disrupting the whole industry, including financial services. For example, ChatGPT can now fine-tune to perform specific tasks or to generate text in a particular style or a specific topic. Some of its abilities include content creation, writing code, translating languages with very high accuracy, essentially helping us to do a large portion of our work. Based on a case study conducted by CFT, we found that ChatGPT outperforms 85% of the 4 million programmers assessed on Python on LinkedIn. So, what insights do we get from this? Our education system have been built on learning hard skills. It takes years for a person to learn hard skills, to reach the level of a machine. Hard skills are important, but not sufficient in today's industry. Everyone needs a combination of skills to thrive in the industry. That's why we at CFT created a new skills framework called SHINE. And last year, CFT published the FinTech Job Report, analyzing 40,000 new jobs created in FinTech, and found that although hard skills are important, they only represent a dimension of the skill set. That's why we created this SHINE framework, a qualitative tool to help the industry identify the key skills in financial services and the skills gap across each type of skills. With the exponential growth in finance, skills required in today's industry are not as the same as years ago. This slide shows that there are many skills required in each dimension, and skills are very broad in finance. We need to develop not only hard skills, but we need to get soft skills, industry knowledge, mindset, and experience. But going back to my main point, what about the people? For people, it means that the professionals working in financial services, whether they are junior or experienced, need to have a knowledge of technology. Having the right vocabulary, understand the applications, the areas to understand are vast, from machine learning to RPA, from blockchain to natural language processing. However, very, very few people have this knowledge. And it's nobody's fault, of course, because 10 or 20 years ago, these skills were not important and they were not taught in finance program or seen as a focus by a large amount of organizations. But this is now the situation that we are facing, not only a huge knowledge gap, but one that is increasing on a daily basis. And that's why we are addressing this at CFT, helping the professionals and helping their organizations acquire the right skills in this new world of digital finance. So the skills gap across all levels in finance, it's the big challenge because it's not limited to a context of an organization or an individual, but it across all levels in the industry, across countries, across sectors, across organizations, and across people. So what are the reasons behind the skills gap? Acceleration of development in finance. In the 2000s, finance has seen a large industry that was largely immune to the disruptions. After the 2008 subprime crisis, it saw exponential growth in the number of innovative milestones, from the first Bitcoin mined to the $120 billion being invested in fintech in 2022. COVID was also a major catalyst for the transformation, with 63% of consumers worldwide now using fintech as services. As a result, 5 out of the 10 biggest financial services providers today are platform-based. So due to these innovations, new players are emerging, new activities are being created, all roles being transformed and disappearing, and new roles appeared. So new skills are therefore required to understand this new world. We are seeing a current system inadequacy. This industry has transformed very rapidly, we know, and the skills that were sought after before might not be now. Skills learned before need to be updated now. However, not many countries have a system for adult education, contrary to high school, which has been developed for centuries to provide foundational knowledge. Adult education now encompasses different areas and varies in its format because it will last longer and will grow more complex over the lifetime. And according to the survey, a research conducted by the Institute of Fiscal Studies, the total spending on adult education fell by 38% between 2010 and 2020. Furthermore, there is no structure designed for adult educations. This has demotivated mature learners and organizations and reducing learning time per week to 0.8 hours on average. So there are still other issues that contribute to the current skills gap in the industry. University education, lack of updated knowledge and courses about soft skills. The second is the corporate training, lack of investment and attention on the long-term employees training. Post-COVID working condition, remote working mode, and increasing competitiveness around the world, the globe. And the short-term thinking. For firms, hiring competitors is just a quick fix to a much deeper rooted challenge and inadequate focus on skills development, impacting both top-level management and their employees. So how to solve the issue? The solution, of course, is to train the industry. Adult education should be part of the government agenda. To date, adult education has been neglected, leaving the millions of working adults around the world to either guide themselves for their own personal and professional development or depend on their employers to provide them with it. However, when the need to upskill is no longer a personal or even an organizational need, but rather critical, a necessity for the overall health of the economy, the question is what role government should play in ensuring that adult professionals receive the resources to upskill and reskill. So in order to have a model of lifelong learning in finance, at CFT, we work with governments to establish digital academies to support adult education. CFT has adopted a 30-20-50 learning strategy approach. Think, a global platform for continuous education, which helps to encourage lifelong learning for everyone to be educated at any level, any background, or any range of people. And it covers topics such as fintech, big tech, blockchain, AI, regtech, to help adults keep the learning going 365 days a year. So think is an important development in lifelong learning and continuous education, and bringing the solution for CFT of mission of education at scales. We should put a focus on the long-term strategy, and strategies need to be set by governments and central banks. They need also to decide on the budgets. We need also a strategy on alignment, cooperation between industry bodies, financial institutions, fintech, tech, private sector, individuals who want to enter, transition, and grow in this new world of finance services. Associations are often considered as industry enablers who connect member companies with regulators and with one another. Third, we need funding to stakeholders. We need funding. It's essential to promote education, but should come with conditions. And what I would say, alignment means cooperation across sectors is key. Then solution, co-creation of programs between third parties and governmental training arms. So some governments we've been working with, and we see some governments are investing in co-creating upskilling programs with third parties through their funded training arms. This way, they can ensure the creation of the type of upskilling programs mostly needed in their country. Singapore is a very good example with MAS and their training arm IBF, EDGM with its academy, with the mission of reskilling and upskilling the MENA region in digital finance and to make UAE AI first. A new school with the Egyptian Banking Institute, training arm of the Central Bank of Egypt, in upskilling the whole financial industry. And we think that this is the very best approach, the top-down approach. The executing the implementation to achieving the goal of education at scale, we need to build an environment of continuous education. I'm welcoming discussions together to create a positive impact on the workforce that can thrive and give people opportunities to upskill. Thanks a lot for having me, and let's keep in touch.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored to be standing here today to talk about a topic that is not only close to my heart, but is also fundamental to the progress of societies globally. Today, we will discuss the topic of investing in education and innovation, and the impact that it has on financial inclusion and sustainable development. If you look at the timeline of human progress, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Every significant leap in our societal development has been powered by two vital engines: education and innovation. Education empowers individuals with knowledge, while innovation enables us to apply this knowledge in ways that transform our lives. However, today, I want to extend this discussion beyond just the transformative power of education and innovation. I want to delve into how these two elements can serve as a foundational blocks for achieving the critical goals for our global societies: financial inclusion and sustainable development. Firstly, let's consider financial inclusion. It refers to access to and usage of affordable financial services. As per the World Bank, around 1.7 billion adults still remains unbanked globally. This is a situation we must address. And I firmly believe that education and innovation are two pivotal tools in this endeavor. Then, financial literacy, a product of a comprehensive education system, is instrumental in bridging this gap. Once individuals understand the importance of financial services, the risks and the rewards associated with them, they can make informed decisions, engage in the services, and ultimately uplift the economic status. On the other hand, innovation, particularly in the field of fintech, is revolutionizing the way we perceive and engage with financial services. We have seen the rise of mobile banking, digital wallets, blockchain technologies, and cryptocurrencies. These are not mere technological advancements. They are tools that can democratize access to financial services, even in the most remote corners of the world. Now let's turn to sustainable developments, a holistic approach towards progress that seeks to balance economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. It is here that the role of education and innovation is not just significant, but I would say indispensable. Education has the power to instill the sense of responsibility in individuals, to make them realize that we are not just the citizens of their countries, but also stewards of this planet. It can inspire them to care for the environment, to understand the importance of sustainability, and to actively participate in efforts towards achieving it. Innovation, on the other hand, provides us with the needs to put these ideas into practice. Innovative technologies like renewable energies, water recycling, and sustainable agriculture, just to name a few, are our best bet at reconciling the needs of development with imperatives of environmental protection. However, all these benefits of education and innovation that I've described cannot be realized unless we as a society are ready to invest in that. This investment is not just about financial resources. It is also about creating a supportive environment where curiosity is nurtured, creativity is encouraged, and innovation is celebrated. Ladies and gentlemen, the stakes are high. The challenges of financial inclusion and sustainable development are daunting, but we're not unsurmountable. History has shown us that when we come together for a cause, we can overcome the most formidable of obstacles. Let's pledge today to make this investment in education and innovation not just as a choice, but as an imperative for our survival, our progress, and our prosperity. Let's sow the seeds of knowledge and creativity today so that our future generations can reap the fruits of financial inclusions and sustainable development. Thank you.
Hello and greetings from London. Addressing the World Business Angel Investors Week 2023 is an absolute pleasure. Today, I'm here to present an opportunity that can both bring financial gain to investors and make a positive impact on society. It is the global collaboration with higher education institutions for financial inclusion. Through research, training, and advocacy, these collaborations pave the way for innovative solutions that empower underserved communities and promote economic participation on a global scale. By collaborating with higher education institutions, venture capitalists and angel investors can innovate new financial tools and build a more equal future. As we all know, the financial inclusion market holds immense untapped potential. By leveraging the expertise of higher education institutions, we can unlock this potential, reaching previously underserved populations and creating sustainable long-term value. The investor community is uniquely positioned here to bridge the financial inclusion gap. As venture capitalists and angel investors, you possess a unique talent for finding and turning opportunities into reality. Your ability to recognize potential is impressive. And by setting your sights on financial inclusion, you can completely revolutionize lives and uplift entire communities. Let's discuss the opportunities offered by such collaborations. Firstly, global collaborations enable the development of tailored training programs and courses that equip students with necessary skills to drive financial inclusion through technology. This, in turn, prepares a new generation of professionals who can design and implement innovative fintech solutions to address the specific needs of underserved populations. Secondly, by engaging in collaborative research initiatives, fintech companies and higher education institutions can acquire valuable insights into the efficacy of digital payment systems, mobile banking, and other fintech advancements in extending their services to unbanked communities. And lastly, global collaboration allows sharing of the best practices, policies, and regulatory frameworks to create an enabling environment for fintech-driven financial inclusion. By working together, higher education institutions and fintech companies can advocate for policy changes that promote innovation and remove barriers to financial access. They can also contribute to developing ethical guidelines and standards that ensure the responsible and inclusive use of financial technology. One concrete example of such collaboration is the partnership between the University of Nairobi in Kenya and Safaricom, a telecommunications company also providing the mobile money service M-Pesa. In this collaboration, the University of Nairobi and Safaricom established the Safaricom Academy. The academy aims to equip students with practical skills in fintech and entrepreneurship while fostering innovation in financial services. The partnership combines the academic expertise of the university with the industry experience and resources of Safaricom. The Safaricom Academy offers a specialized curriculum that covers topics such as mobile money, digital payments, and financial technology. Students have the opportunity to learn about the challenges and opportunities in the fintech industry, gaining insights into how technology can be leveraged to drive financial inclusion. Through this collaboration, students also have access to mentorship programs, internships, and real-world projects with Safaricom. This hands-on experience allows them to apply their knowledge and skills in a practical setting, contributing to the development of innovative fintech solutions that address the needs of underserved communities in Kenya. Overall, the collaboration between the University of Nairobi and Safaricom exemplifies how partnerships between higher education institutions and fintech companies can empower students, foster innovation, and drive financial inclusion by providing them with the necessary skills, resources, and industry exposure to make a positive impact in the financial technology sector. To summarize, the collaboration between higher education institutions and fintech companies is a powerful tool for advancing financial inclusion. And as I mentioned, venture capitalists and angel investors can play a significant role in supporting financial inclusion by investing in and supporting innovative solutions for underserved populations and training and skills development. Thank you for your attention.
Business Luminaires, I'm delighted to welcome you to the World Business Angel Investors Week 2023 in the United Kingdom. We're gathered here today to deliberate, share ideas, and hopefully spur the change we wish to see in the world about the global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. It's a mission that requires our concerned efforts, understanding, and commitment to making the world a better place. I stand before you not as a stranger, but as a fellow traveler on this journey. dedicated to leveraging the power of technology and education to the greater good of society. I'm Professor Christian Farioli, and since 2003, I've been entrenched in the evolving landscape of digital marketing and fintech, actively exploring its power and potential to transform businesses and lives. I wear multiple hats in this vibrant industry. I have the privilege of being a digital and fintech lecturer for renowned organizations such as the Digital Marketing Institute, Informa, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. In this role, I have had the opportunity to interact, guide, and learn from an array of bright minds. And it is through these experiences that I've gained a deep understanding of the dynamic nature of our digital world and its integral role in shaping our future. Over the years, I have shared my insights and expertise at more than 120 international conferences, from the technological hub of Google to the pioneering institution of NASA, and I've conversed with a diverse audience. So in this exchange of ideas and experiences that I find the greatest satisfaction for every conversation that leads to growth and every question also sparks innovation. I've had the honor of training and advising more than 15,000 executives across 4 continents, and I've been fortunate enough to work with leading brands such as Armani, Bayer, Jumeirah, Burj Al Arab, Etisalat, Huawei, ADNOC, and Ferrari. The diversity of these experiences enabled me to understand the varied needs of different markets and the unique solutions that digital fintech can provide. However, all these accomplishments would mean nothing if they did not serve a great purpose. Today, we are here to harness the power of digital technology, higher education, and global collaboration to increase financial inclusion. It's a bold mission and one that resonates deeply with my professional and personal journey. The landscape of digital has shown us that the world can be connected and how opportunities can be created. In the same vein, we must strive to ensure that no one is left behind in the journey towards financial inclusion. Together, we can forge a new path built on the pillars of education, collaboration, and inclusivity. I'm excited to embark on this journey with all of you in its collaboration of diverse minds and hearts that through innovation and change arise. Thank you again, and let's make the World Business Angel Investors Week 2003 in UK a milestone in our shared journey towards a more inclusive future. The panel of today, it's about the following topic. Are fintech companies delivering on the social impact promises? Let's see a fresh look at financial inclusion, financial literacy, financial health, and sustainability standards. And I have here with me an amazing panel. Starting introducing them from Yvonne Deville. Yvonne is the Chair of Finance and FinTech Group with the Institute of Directors. Yvonne has over 20 years of experience in supporting and managing international programs and business changes, transformations within Credit Suisse, Unilever, Ecaterra, HSBC, Lloyds Banking Group, Barclays, Travelex, Clifford Chance, BP, Schroders, and PwC. And she's also an author of Cracking the Change Management Code book. Then we have here another amazing panelist, Andrew Samu. He's the editor at Disruption Banking, where he writes stories about capital markets, DeFi, at Disruption Banking, where the content covers stories from banking technology to fintech disruptors, including ESG, DeFi, algo trading, HFT, regulation, and many others. And he's also specialist on US markets in his role. Then we have another amazing panelist, Kai Liang. Kai is currently the Director of Business Development of Mel Science, which is the world-leading innovative science education content company, with awards-winning VR and AR contents, as well as a full range of science learning kits and thousands of original videos. While Mel Science is focusing on B2C delivery, Kai and Daniel Sullivan co-founded as well Mel Scholar to reinvent primary school science curriculum from scratch. Kai also co-founded a new VR and edtech companies, including Smart Stone Technologies, based in Sydney, which has won a large number of projects in many countries in the areas of VR and AR-assisted education. Another company Kai co-founded, it's called xspaces.io, and has already completed the seed investment round and is quickly becoming a leading global metaverse platform and ecosystem solution. And then we have here in the panel, Dr. Riza Kadilar. He's a PhD in economics, BSc degree at METU in industrial engineering, MSc degree at Stanford University, MBA at Tech Paris, and also executive management course on banking at INSEAD, and leadership in digital age at Columbia Business School and INSEAD. His professional career includes a senior level bank management experience in the UK, the Netherlands, France, and Turkey. And he has been the senior country manager and representative for Turkey at Natixis since 2006. Previously served as deputy CEO at a merchant bank in London, management board member of a trade finance bank in Amsterdam, and also the head of corporate banking and financial institutions and Turkish bank in Istanbul. Also as a voluntary position, he is the global president of European Mentoring and Coaching Council, also the chairman of China Institute Turkey, scientific committee member at Institute Bosphore Paris, president of TUSIAD, the Netherlands Task Force, and a trustee and board member at Hisar Education Foundation in Istanbul. He's also the author of 5 published books and regularly writes at Bloomberg Business Week Turkey. So, welcome to all of the panelists. Now, again, the theme of the current discussion, it's about the global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. And I will open the discussion about the following topic. Are fintech companies delivering on their social impact promises? Let's have a fresh look at financial inclusion, financial literacy, and financial health and sustainability standards. The first question for today is going to be for Andrew. And the question is the following. In what ways are fintech companies collaborating with higher education institutions to further financial inclusion? And as well, are you able to share any successful example of such a partnership? The word up to you, Andrew.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Christian. Really good to meet you all. There isn't an awful lot that we can share. However, institutions such as MIT, Oxford University, Stanford to some extent as well, are some of the pioneers and the leaders when it comes to collaborations between education and business at the moment. We are seeing an awful lot of professionals coming into the job market, in the fintech market, having education from these higher education institutions, which often also offer researching facilities. I have an example of one of my team that is currently at London School of Economics, where they are also focusing on these types of topics at the moment. The challenge that we're having is that business is not always aware of the fact that they can collaborate with these institutions. With the MIT situation, I think everybody is very familiar with MIT. It is a very interesting brand. During COVID, they offered a lot of their courses for free, which grew engagement amongst people. At this stage, we feel that in our editorial team that the collaboration will improve in the future, just like we've seen campuses grow in universities across the world with science centers and what have you. But today, the fintech centers within universities are still a little bit at a beginning stage from our readership perspective. I hope that helps, Christian. You're on mute.
All right, so they kept me muted. All right, thank you so much, Andrew, for the question, for the answer. All right, now a question for Yvonne. To what extent do you believe that fintech companies are delivering on their social impact promises, particularly in the realm of financial inclusion?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's really great to be part of those panel discussion and be surrounded by such experts. So once again, thank you for having me. I think we have to start with just stating that at the moment, we still have a very large population, approximately 1.7 billion people in the world that do not have access to banks and financial products. And this statistic is based on a Findex report from November 2022. Why is that? I think mostly because traditional banks and the financial institutions, insurance institutions have very old legacy systems, which makes them less agile. They also have a very strict appetite for risks. They have a higher interest rates, and they are more strict about regulation in terms for accessing their financial products. So that gives opportunities for the fintech company with the new way of thinking and the agility and a way for them to change how people access banking. And with the new imaginative ways, they provide us a way to access financial products. I just want to highlight that only just recently in UK, it was November 12th, that the Lord Mayor has held a big summit to help with the agenda about financial inclusion and literacy, and has invited the representatives from all the larger banks in UK to participate in that mission to help educate people in financial literacy. So not only access the financial products, but also make sure that everyone has sort of basic understanding how finances work and how they, how interest work, where rates works, so they can make better decisions about their financial health. So in terms of sort of example of companies or fintechs that help with the financial inclusion. So in the UK, we have Fair for All Finance, which actually works with government and helps with providing access to financial products for those sort of undeserved in UK. For instance, there is a money box that runs up a sort of savings and little spare change to invest it in sort of different savings and investment options. I think it's important also to say that the COVID-19, as much as devastating it has been, it has created a digital revolution and enabled the mobile applications expansion. And so the answer to financial inclusion actually very much has been within the mobile application. And we see that very clearly in the rural areas in continents such as Africa, Asia, South America. And it's the smartphones that actually create and help with the revolution. And so, for instance, in Africa, the sort of phone market is about 6.6% the global smartphone sales globally, and it is one of the sort of fastest growing markets in the world. So therefore, it allows fintechs to access this population and allow them access then through those applications to financial systems. And for instance, M-Pesa in Kenya has enabled millions of Kenyans to participate in the financial inclusion. We have a Tela, which is a global application that enables people with no history credit to obtain loans as little as $10. Because for those people in those countries, at $10, it's a lot of money, and then enables them to live day to day. We have, for instance, Acrons in US that also focuses on micro investing. We have Jumbo in Africa and Asia that is a sort of lending market as well. But let's not forget also that the fintechs have actually helped a lot of women rise from poverty and through usage of the sort of digital platforms. And one example of company that is sort of focusing on helping women and small businesses find it funding for women is C-Node. And C-Node is actually woman-led investment platform, and they focusing helping women for women. So from my perspective, being a woman, I think I can see how important it is and how it gives a lot of women the power to to have a voice in their own finances. So I think from my perspective, I think that definitely fintechs help with the financial inclusion, and the journey is ongoing, and we will see more coming as the technology develops. Hope that helps.
All right, that's a wonderful answer, Yvonne. Thank you so much. I would like also to ask the same question to Andrew. So to what extent do you believe that fintech companies are delivering on their social impact promises, particularly in the realm of financial inclusion?
It's a very big question. I don't want to repeat what Yvonne's already said, because Yvonne has covered it very nicely. I mean, from Kenya, I think it was a very good example. I've also been watching the Mwale Medical and Technology City, which if people aren't familiar with that, it's something that you should definitely look at. They've had a stable coin underpinning their facility for over the last 4 years. They're one of the pioneers here, bringing that kind of attitude to the African continent. I think World Remit and their CEO is another really good example of a company that is working towards helping people feel the benefits of financial inclusion. But we're also seeing companies, Stripe this morning was also offering more services. Wise, we're seeing them at the moment. It's phenomenal. Wise are offering an all-weather ETF as part of your current account, which offered 16% returns last year, which is very low risk and very sensible for people who aren't included. They also offer 26 different countries worth of bank accounts. So these solutions are new. We haven't seen these solutions before. It's becoming easier for people to open bank accounts, just like Yvonne said. And I think that was the premise that we needed to see. However, I am involved in digital assets, and Cardano as a blockchain layer 1, which a lot of people will be familiar with, is possibly the most financially inclusive blockchain company that we have seen over the last few years. Some of the projects that they're involved in, also in Africa, but also in other countries, are really forward thinking. So there is hope. Companies are addressing this issue, and every day we are seeing more solutions to help people have lower fees, transparent fees, and the ability to understand their financial products.
That's amazing, Andrew. Thank you for what you had to add to what Yvonne already said. I also have another question for Yvonne. So in terms of sustainability standards, how are fintech companies aligning their business models with environmental, social, and governance, also called ESG criteria?
Okay, so I think first of all, ECG is all about making the difference to our world, and in the last few years, it has become the key dimension in business considerations. And I think the most important is the climate change and addressing the damage that to the environment done by us, by humans. And this is the most talked about and the most researched topic that is actually being promoted by United Nations. So there is no surprise that actually the climate tech is one of the fastest growing sub-sector emerging within the fintech. And only last year, the ECG fintech grew by 46%. So this is a new record high. And I think in US, it was like sort of 28% share of the whole sort of deal market. And just give an example of the sort of areas that the sort of fintech companies are doing in this area is, for instance, working on sustainable investing platforms. So company like Waterfront that is allowing users to align the investment with any sustainable goals. We have a green financing. So for instance, companies such as Lend Invest that recently, well, actually, I think it was last year, they launched a green bond framework. We have also a lot of fintechs that deal with impact measurement and reporting. So for instance, BriefPoint is a company that is trying to positively impact behavioral change. They're allowing the members to trade the rewards and then allow them to use this for purchase services from green suppliers. They reward the members for verification of carbon emission to reduction. And so the more reduction you make, the more brief points you earn. What else? So that's also connected to carbon offsetting. So for instance, Stripe has committed to becoming carbon neutral by purchasing carbon offset and investing in green point projects. We have also a lot of data analytics, for instance, Data Maran that allows sort of using sort of the artificial intelligence, and then has a sort of data-driven platform, so you can sort of verify the different opportunities. So there's a lot of that it's happening in this area, and I think how impactful they are, it remains to be sort of proven and seen. But I think we really have a step in the right direction. So from my point of view, I am very optimistic and hopeful, and I think fintechs will show us the way to a better future and hopefully save our planet.
That's amazing, Yvonne, how much companies are doing in that respect. That's great. All right, now I have a question for Dr. Riza, since he's an academic and as well an esteemed business professional. I would like to ask him, in terms of sustainability standards, how are fintech companies aligning their business models with environmental, social, and governance criteria? And also, I would like to ask him also if there are any specific collaborations with academia in this regard.
Hi, Christian. It's we live in an age of lots of exciting paradoxes and conflicts, and extremes are coming together. I will just comment on my colleagues' previous comments. On one hand, for example, we have the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. In order to prevent the terrorism financing and everything, they make life so difficult for people to open a bank account. And at the same time, we technology brings. So amazing times. And ESG the same. On one hand, we are all aware that we can't sustain. When we talk about sustain, we all want to sustain our way of life. We know it's not going to be sustainable at the end. So taking action in order to change, but at the same time, knowing that we have to adapt. Mitigation is a big, question mark. We are going through times of a bit walking in a bit dark, but there are, I believe, excellent examples of collaboration between academia and the fintech, especially, or technology, or financial institutions all over the world. There are lots of research programs, for example, we see. There are lots of advisory committees, advisory board. Data is so critical, and there are so many projects on data collaboration, incubators, accelerators, and also the works and conferences and everything. Some specific example, for example, first from Europe, the BlackRock, the financial conglomerate, let's say, they have a wonderful program with the Imperial College for the award program in the area of ESG, for example. Then Cambridge University has a joint program with UBS, again, another big bank, in the area to create ESG related. When it comes to fintech, Arabesque, for example, it is it's a technological tool. They call it S-Ray. It brings companies measurements for their ESG criteria, and they have a great collaboration with Oxford University, for example. I can give a few examples from US, for example. I think my colleague mentioned MIT. They do a great job with State Street Global, the big financial management company. Boni, Bank of New York, has a great collaboration with, for example, Carnegie Mellon University, and they also try to understand how governments can be more ESG compliant in their area. Then Harvard has a great collaboration with Bloomberg, for example. Again, they would like to create more considerate decision-making tools for climate, for policymakers to address the climate challenge. I can also give, for example, China, the Asia. Asia is not also silent. They are so actively involved in, for example, Ant Group. They have a great initiative with Tsinghua University. DBS Bank from Singapore, again, they do a great job with Nanyang Technological University. They create this platform to combine the technological advances in financial and fintech to address the ESG. You may know Grab. This is the Uber, like in Asia. They have a great program with National University of Singapore. It's not only for ESG, but even further, they would like to create this sustainable cities model by using their algorithm combined with the fintech element that they have. In Korea, we see excellent collaborations with the Korea University and Shinhan Financial Group. So the list is long. So wherever we look, academia and the new fintech, but also let's not forget about the legacy, the big guys, the financial institutions. Everybody's kind of in the same boat, in the same area to make the world a better place. Partially, yeah, we may still question whether they are greenwash, really. But when we dig deeper, we started to see really good progress in the area how academia collaborate with the financial institutions and also fintech and techfin all together coming. Thank you. Christian.
That's great, Dr. Riza. That's really a great take on the subject. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to ask Kai. Let's see if it's yes. I can see that Kai is ready. I have a question for you, Kai. I would like to understand if you could discuss specific technological innovations that have significantly enhanced the financial inclusion, and also how they were influenced or supported by academic research.
Absolutely. I was actually prepared for a different question, but certainly I can elaborate on this particular question. Just been running through the Shanghai underground to this particular point. And so I just come from a most complex country in terms of financial inclusion. Normally I'm based in London, but the question is very interesting. I'm not an expert on fintech companies, but as a serial entrepreneur in education, edtech, and education content, I can certainly share my point of view. First of all, from an education institution point of view, and then from a technology provider point of view. I think to actually discuss, to answer this question, first of all, we need to understand a little bit about context. The context is such that the world of education is currently experiencing the fastest pace of change in the history of mankind. As we know that education normally is quite kind of risk averse and very, very slow to change. But now this is going to be completely changed. And this is driven by at least three factors. The first factor is the fundamental change of the future labor market. As we can see that a lot of jobs will simply disappear within the next 3 years. And they will be replaced by new jobs and kind of live differently. So that is one change. The second change is the technology. And as the earlier speaker has mentioned, I mean, I think it was Yvonne mentioned, I mean, we are all now totally reliant on mobile phone. And you go to university, everybody is still kind of making this transition from laptop to tablet. And but I think, Christian, when you were in university, perhaps tablet is not such a big thing. You actually have to go to the classroom with desktop computers that has various kind of like specifications. And in the future, it's going to be on AR glasses. And then later, I think this month, right, Apple is going to release the Apple VR glasses. That's going to be the most strongest impact, the change factor of this entire industry. So the device, the technology, the base cloud technology, everything is changed. And they're all here to serve education contents in a different way, connect the education community in a different way, to kind of like make the borderline between education, teaching, and also working more fuzzy. So that's the second factor. And the third factor that's going to cause all these changes, and kindly mentioned by Yvonne, is the fact that the planet will depend on, is at the point where human activity are driving the whole planet system to a breaking point, for which drastic measures like global climate policy absolutely must act together yesterday on matters like something like phosphate resources, carbon, biodiversity, and a number of critical issues. Let's not mention cancer is all around us. And there are more and more incidents of pandemic, really serious diseases. What is happening? Food technology has to change. Yeah. And under this context, everything must serve the environmental imperative. Before, everything served an economic imperative. You can make money, that's everything. But now, no, you have to observe that. So all this means that, first of all, education institutions must change. I mean, they must do certification differently. They must teach differently. And they must kind of like connect the community of teachers, students differently. They need to offer NFTs to micro-learning certifications. I need to serve a market that is just like, I mean, even the job market, even the way we work changed completely. At the end of the pandemic, today, working at home is a norm, right? Only 3 or 4 years ago, working at home is kind of a luxury. Only selected individuals can enjoy, because when you say work at home, people think that you're working in the beach. But now everybody work at home. I can join this conference from 7 hours different, 7 hours away. And then I could be working with other people who is several hours away. And then the whole notion of the big multinational companies, the big brands, as we're all used to, are changed altogether. Because of all these changes, first of all, the education institution must have several changes. And then the technology they all depend on, and the student lecturers all kind of write their content, serve their content, are all going to change. So the changes, so let me give you some example of the changes. The changes are not including, but not limiting to the following. First of all, I mean, as soon as possible, including topics that involved with new technology and business practice in relation to the changing job market, and then get into the lecture, everything is changing, right? Secondly, looking to break down, institutions, they have to break down large degree courses into micro-learning modules and make the credit more accessible and more up-to-date, so that it's available to all lifelong learning contexts. It's no longer feasible for us to hire people who have a degree in fintech or a degree in crypto technologies or blockchain. I mean, the reward, the sponsorship, the resource opportunity means that you've got to be able to include people who are not used to be like professor of blockchain to be able to teach blockchain, because he just participated in this new technology like Slack, like Trello. I mean, these are changing. I mean, we used to work on Word and PowerPoint, but no longer. So we're going to work on altogether different office system all the time. And who can create this content? Who constructed the system? Those are the lectures that students want to listen to. And then the technology have to appeal to these people. Another third example, universities and institutions perhaps need to make as much content free as possible, or open sources, so that the course content can stay up to date. And all the experts in real job market, they can actually join in, they can contribute. Because if you're Cambridge and Oxford, I go to Cambridge, yeah, fine. Cambridge and Oxford has great brand name, but perhaps it's a games university in Aberdeen that actually included the inventor of this, for example, I'm just imaginary, inventor of Minecraft to be able to teach this lecture. Trust me, all the students would want to listen to him. They want to join a little project led by him. And therefore, you need to offer the technology. You need to develop the technology. Perhaps the technology is already on Minecraft or Roblox, so that the student can learn. And you need to issue the certificate that is more useful and carry more weight in the job market and help them to actually get projects than Oxford and Cambridge degree, right? Last example, you need to work. University,
Kai, you're making me back to my student age. For all of your example, I really feel when the life was different than what it is today.
Oh, well,
I'm sorry to cut exactly. Sorry to cut you just slightly short. Is because I wanna. Sure. All right. That's it. Go for it.
Point. the university need to work as a career agency rather than just advisor, so that you can bring learning and working together. As the boundaries have become fuzzy, and therefore the technology, the university perhaps need to create a subpart of LinkedIn to join. So all these technology doesn't exist before. They would come in to play a part. I think I'm done for now. And let me pass to you, Christine. I hope that's helpful. I'm sorry, a little bit long-winded.
That's fine. That's fine. Good. Thank you for the answer, Kai. Now I have another question, and I would like to start asking the question to Andrew. So, lastly, what step should fintech, in your opinion, and higher education institutions take to strengthen their collaboration and make a greater social impact in the realm of financial inclusion?
Do you know what? I really agree with Kai here. I mean, really, they need to do more career things. I think that's the essence of this as well. Even today, I think as a student coming out of university, the world of fintech or ESG is a great, huge unknown. But this all comes back to financial education. It all comes back to financial education. The financial education can't start early enough. A few years ago, when LinkedIn came into the market and suggested they're going to open up LinkedIn to 16-year-olds or even younger, it was a good sign, because at least they have exposure to the world of finance as well through that platform. But I think the biggest reason that we have to look at this is because there is a natural bias in everything to do with artificial intelligence today. And we need to make people understand the bias in artificial intelligence as soon as possible. Ultimately, where we are today is, if you are a single mother and you want to get credit, you will struggle. And you don't know that when you're at university. You don't know that even when you finish university. And I think at the moment, A, we shouldn't have that bias in artificial intelligence. B, that bias should be discussed much, much earlier. And C, people who can resolve that bias need to be entering the job market and be educated about this from day one. And they're getting the education in their mid-20s, even early 30s, which is too late to help artificial intelligence. So that's my 2 cents here. It's about education, and it's about understanding the technologies and facing the biggest challenges, which, for instance, is the bias.
Thank you, Andrew, for the perfect answer. I would like to ask the same thing to Kai. So again, what step do you think that fintech should take and higher education institutions to strengthen their collaboration and make a greater social impact in the realm of financial inclusion?
I promise to be very, very brief this time. So
great.
So first of all, simply fintech company need to support, need to sponsor more education. Because I mean, everybody needs to join up to the fintech. You know, they need to support more people to learn more useful things in life that can deliver value, and hence actually everybody can join in to play a part in economy by and large. But in addition, I think it's very important for fintech companies to perhaps to become a portal to actually collect the more innovative teachers, the more relevant kind of like sponsors, the participants or co-creators of education content, to actually join in education in the field of practical skills. I mean, our sons and daughters are all going to work in micro entrepreneurial companies in the future, rather than big corporate like Stripes or MasterCard. I mean, trust me, there will be a lot of that, and therefore perhaps fintech company can enable that by having the different business leaders to offer some teaching and to pick up certain people, students who can actually join some real life project, so that they play a part. They can share the non-confidential part of their project to other people. Hence, you create that kind of like active learning, creating participation, and then they can then contribute to more skills in the community, and getting more banked, and getting more people to become the owner of business and actually owner of business accounts. So those are examples. And finally, I think fintech company perhaps can help the technology providers such as AR glasses provider and all online cloud service providers with some of their technology that can kind of like a cross boundary between security and accessibility of service, and also share the data. The data of all of us are very important, but then that kind of encourage people and also bring more relevant learning and services to people. So those are my 2 cents. And I hope that's briefer than the last answer.
That's wonderful, Kai. Yes, indeed. That was great. And I would like to extend the same question to Dr. Riza. So again, what steps should fintech companies and higher education institutions take to strengthen their collaboration and make a greater social impact in the realm of financial inclusion?
I don't want to repeat what my colleagues have already said. I echo what they said. I can give 2 examples. I was blessed, lucky enough to be an early stage investor in Avalanche Lab. For example, Emin is a great example, a PhD, a professor at Cornell. He came up with the idea, he made it happen, and now with their subnet concept and everything, they are doing so much great work with education work. So like it starts with academia and go back to academia. So that's great. The second example, I hope I'm not here this time, I have no idea, in Amsterdam, where I'm based. The University of Amsterdam has a science park, and within the science park, there's a startup village. And there's this company who is creating Universe, who is a kind of metaverse provider. The unique thing about it, their algorithm have access to quantum computing. So it's basically all these, the chip providers, the chip designers in the Dutch ecosystem, university, and those smart kids, they are kind of working together in order to make it happen. Because everything we talk, it's no joke. These are real, amazing technological advances. The critical issue is to put the startup village in the science park. So because when we create technology, what to do with it? So in order to reach financial inclusion, there are a few more steps in commercialization and even access to capital and everything. Then it goes back again. I don't want to repeat, my colleagues have already covered the most important issue about inclusion, but I just want to take these 2 examples where maybe, they can be a role model, how we can get these technological shifts, advances, commercialize, bring it to people to create a more inclusive financial environment for all. Thank you.
All right, that's great, Dr. Riza. That has been an amazing session with a lot of insights from the panelists. So thank you so much. And on behalf of the World Business Angel Investors Week 2003 in UK, I would like to give a big thank you to the esteemed panelists, Yvonne Deville, Andrew Snamo, Kai Liang, and Dr. Riza Kadilar for the valuable insight on the theme of global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Pleasure.
Lovely to spend time with you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day, London.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, distinguished scholars and business visionaries, I warmly welcome you to the World Business Angel Investors Week 2023 in the United Kingdom. We find yourself in an assembly aimed at exchange ideas, fostering collaborations, and driving change. The thing that brings us together is global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion, a mission demanding our unified effort and dedication to create a more equitable world. Introducing myself, I'm Professor Christian Farioli, a pioneer in digital marketing since 2003. I'm also a best-selling author and an expert in exciting and burgeoning field of fintech. I spent nearly 2 decades charting the course of the digital marketing realm, constantly seeking innovative ways to harness the power of technology. And as a digital lecturer for esteemed institutions such as the Digital Marketing Institute, Informa, and PricewaterhouseCoopers, and fintech experts, I had the privilege of helping shape the minds that will drive the future of our digital world. These roles have provided me with invaluable insights into emergent trends and the transformative potential of digital technology. Sharing knowledge is not only a one-way street, and in my journey, I've spoken at more than 120 international conferences, including at tech-forward organizations like Google and trailblazing institutions like NASA. These experiences have allowed me to participate in fruitful discussions with a diverse range of thinkers and innovators, stimulating further growth and understanding. Over the years, I've been honored to train and advise over 15,000 executives across 4 continents, from luxury brands like Armani to technology leaders like Huawei and innovative companies like ADNOC and Ferrari. And my experiences have strengthened my belief in the power of tailored digital marketing solutions to address unique market challenges. Additionally, as a best-selling author, I've had the opportunity to share my insights and experiences on a global scale, bringing the lessons and opportunities of the digital revolution to a wider audience. Through my writing, I contribute to the broader discourse surrounding digital innovation and fintech. Today, we gather with a resonating mission, leveraging global collaboration and higher education to promote financial inclusion. Our panel topic is going to be leveraging technology for financial inclusion with opportunities and challenges, and couldn't be more apt. As a digital pioneer, as a fintech expert and educator, this intersection of technology, finance, and inclusivity encapsulates the core of my professional journey. We have seen the digital world ability to connect and create opportunities, and now it's time to extend these benefits to all. We must ensure that no one is left behind and the progress towards the financial inclusion are there. Balancing the immense opportunity technology offers with the challenges it can present is our shared responsibility. I look forward to embarking on this transformative journey with you. Together, leveraging our diverse experiences, innovative minds, and shared vision, we can make the World Business Angel Investors Week 2003 a turning point in our quest for a more inclusive future. Thank you. Let's commit to shaping a world where technology and financial services meet to create a landscape of greater financial inclusion for all. The panel of today, it's about the following topic: leveraging technology for financial inclusion, opportunities and challenges. And we have here gathered an amazing round of panelists. Starting with Tommy Edwards, an award-winning serial tech entrepreneur dedicated to global innovation and the future of work. She's the co-founder and CEO of Tech1M, an intelligent global hiring platform for sourcing, matching, testing, paying, and managing global talents, which is currently backed by Techstars. Tommy's goal for Tech1M is to shape the workplace of the future by automating borderless hiring for the next 1 million talents. She's founder and CEO of TedBree, a software engineering and digital marketing company, matching world-class talent teams to innovative projects on its project delivery platform. Tommy is also a G20 delegate president for the UK, a fellow of Royal Society of Art, a mentor, a business advisor, an executive board member, and one of the top 100 most influential leaders in Tech UK by the Financial Times and Inclusive Boards. She's passionate also about helping business grow and creating opportunities for global talents, regardless of their age, gender, location, or religious background. Then we have another amazing panelist, Professor Maurizio Bragagni. He's a chairman and CEO of Tratos, the manufacturing division of global cable maker Tratos Group, and he also serves as a board member. Under his leadership, the company won the Queen's Award for Innovation in 2019 for one of its most advanced cables. Embracing the principle of giving back to society, Prof. Bragagni set up a ZAR Life Foundation with the aim of supporting children, women, and young people throughout the most disadvantaged areas of the world. He's also a successful entrepreneur with business acumen. He was appointed the Consul of the Republic of San Marino to the UK and Northern Ireland. Then we have with us as well Kai Liang, which is currently the Director of Business Development of Mel Science, which is the world-leading innovative science education content company with award-winning VR and AR contents, as well as a full range of science learning kits and thousands of original videos. While Mel Science is focusing on B2C, Kai and Daniel Sullivan also co-founded Mel Scholar to reinvent primary school science curriculum from scratch. Kai also co-founded a new virtual reality and edtech companies, including Smart Stone Technologies based in Sydney, which has won a large number of projects in many countries in the areas of virtual reality and augmented reality assisted education. Another company Kai also co-founded, it's called xspace.io, that has already completed the seed investment round and is quickly becoming a leading global metaverse platform and ecosystem solution. Then we have with us Dr. Riza Kadilar. He's a PhD in economics with a degree at METU in industrial engineering and also a degree at Stanford University. Also is an MBA at HEC Paris and executive management course at INSEAD. Also leadership in digital age at Columbia Business School and INSEAD. His professional career includes senior level bank management experience in the UK, the Netherlands, France, and Turkey. He has been the senior country manager and representative for Turkey at Natixis since 2006. Previously, he served as a deputy CEO at a merchant bank in London, as a management board member of Trade and Finance Banking in Amsterdam, and as the head of corporate banking and financial institutions at a Turkish bank in Istanbul. Also, he has a voluntary position currently is the global president of European Mentoring and Coaching Council, and is also the chairman of China Institute Turkey, a scientific committee member at Institut de Bosphore Paris, and president of TUSIAD in Netherlands Task Force. And also served as a trustee and board member at Hisar Education Foundation in Istanbul. He's also the author of 5 published books and regularly writes at Bloomberg Business Weeks in Turkey. Please welcome the panelists with a round of applause. Very good, very good. So again, we're discussing about the global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. I will open the discussion about the topic of leveraging technology for financial inclusion, mentioning opportunities and challenges. And then I have the first question for Tommy, which is the following. How, in your opinion, fintech companies and higher education institutions are collaborating globally to leveraging technology for financial inclusion? And also, I would like you to share some successful instances of such collaborations. The word to you,
Okay.
Tommy.
Okay, all right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here today. And thanks, Professor Christian and the other panelists. So to your question, I think we're living in a very interesting time. And this is where, when it comes to financial inclusion and when it comes to collaboration, especially within education, has never been more important. And what we're beginning to see as of right now, so coming from a complete tech background, for me, every single thing you're looking at within the industry is basically how can any industry, regardless of financial, education, or regardless of whatever industry you're in, how are they leveraging technology to be able to speed things up? And because the digital economy is here right now, when we went through COVID, we're able to see how different industries moved into different areas digitally very, very fast. And this as well appears within the financial sector. You're beginning to see banks, I'll give an example. You're beginning to see banks like, let's say, Barclays, creating incubators, accelerator programs, and bringing people from universities, making sure that they're understanding how to start getting themselves into the digital economy pretty quickly. They're doing this, bringing out different resources, partnering with universities to make sure that the different meals and the different things they're doing within the schools are being used within the financial industry. Another interesting one I'm seeing, I don't know if you guys remember this advert within the UK, Go Henry, I think is that what it's called, which is an application that is actually trying to catch children very quickly, for them to do chores, for them to learn about different aspects and also get rewarded in the process. So these young kids are downloading this sort of application. They are doing chores, their parents are giving them rewards of £1, £2, £10. And what this is doing is that it's educating these children quite at a very young age. One, they're getting digital literacy very quickly. They're getting into the financial sector using apps like that very quickly. And they're right now, their mindset into how the financial sector and education comes together will be a lot faster than when we were growing up. And that's what we're seeing. Other banks are following suit. You have the likes of, I know for my kids, I have the likes of Sterling Bank with their Kite, doing exactly the same thing, making sure that we are teaching them exactly how to have their own, our kids have their own perfect cards, and make them feel like, oh, wow, yes, I have my own credit card. And you're also teaching them exactly how to save, how to whatever money uncle gives to you, how you're able to put that in. So we're seeing that right from the K-12, right from the young ages. But going up into this, more and more financial companies, more and more banks, more and more digital companies are beginning to look at a broader way of including different sectors and different people within financial services. One of the interesting one that's coming to mind is what Multiverse, which is an education platform, an edtech platform, has done in terms of trying to revolutionize the way we think about universities and the way we think about bringing people up right now. And this has blown the mind of a whole lot of people. I don't know their CEO is the son of the former Prime Minister of the UK, Tony Blair. And what his institution has done has been able to train people right from coming out of high school and giving them apprenticeships, and then sending them onto these different organizations. And so many of the banks are using them. And this is a completely different style and a different way of tackling inclusion into the financial sector, inclusion into this set of sectors that typically going into universities, you have to go like 4 years, 5 years for you to finish and then try to get into a graduate scheme. But turning that on top of his head and making sure that you don't even have to get into university, you're starting an apprenticeship, learning exactly how the financial sector works, learning exactly how different sectors work, and then pushing you into that sector with the opportunities that all these digital platforms are beginning to provide. So we're seeing that, and it's quite an interesting time. I think things are moving with the help of technology, are moving super, super fast. The financial sector is playing an interesting part. So is education. Right now, every single person is beginning to see that regardless of where you are, regardless of what country you're in, what age, there is something out there for you. And this is what education is bringing into the technology game. You have the likes of Coursera, Udemy. It's all about, do you want to learn? If you want to learn, there's so many open opportunities. But then how do we then begin to transmission from you've learned something, how does that go into the financial sector? And this is where you're seeing the likes of all of these tools we just talked about, transmitting people from wherever they are and helping them into those sectors. I think we're going to begin to see more and more of that. Incubators, accelerator programs, partnering with different institutions to actually create new digital economies and the digital future. We're seeing more and more and more of that. So I think it's an interesting time we're living in. I think we're going to, as a generation, continue to innovate very quickly. I can't wait to see what ChatGPT or the OpenAI does within the financial sector, but I know it's coming. Yeah, so that's kind of like my take right now.
Indeed, and thank you so much, Tommy. You, after hearing your conversation, you brought me back in time when I used to be a student. So definitely there are a lot of happening. Wonderful. Right. Now I have another question, but I'm going to ask the question to more than one of you. So if you keep your answer a little bit brief, so we get the chance to everyone to express their own opinion on the topic, right? And I'm going to start asking Professor Maurizio, how do regulations and policy frameworks impact the use of technology for financial inclusion? And also, I would like to ask him, what changes would you like to see in the regulatory environment to support this goal?
So first, thank you, Professor Christian. Thanks for the panelists. I would like to bring my direct experience in this matter. As an academic to the base university in London, and in particular as a council of the Republic of San Marino, I'm going to give you two examples. How, for example, the legislation in Europe is influencing and is limiting or is started to put barriers to the use of technology in fintech. And I give you that example because what has happened is that now more and more often they have seen that the technology is neutral. The technology behind what is a fintech is neutral, if you want. The blockchain, the kind of computer or artificial intelligence, whatever is behind, is quite neutral, but the effect is not neutral. And what we have seen in a particular, for example, in a country more like San Marino, it's that we have been forced to introduce regulation that they are going to limit it, the use, for example, of the capital for fintech, that they are going to use cryptocurrency or crypto asset or whatever is in that sector. And so that is going to reduce the opportunity to experimental. You mentioned very clearly that what Tommy said, that remind also to me at the time when I was at university, that we created 3 companies. We created the first stock exchange in Palo Alto during Cass Business School that we call eRenaissance. And we failed because Renaissance was a name that was already registered. So we launched the platform that unfortunately we didn't really know very well how the patent worked. So the day after we have been closed, but at that time you didn't have any regulation that were limited the possibility to use the technology for develop an idea and help the society and giving back. Now what we've seen is more and more these barriers, they are tried to crush, to put in the box something that is not inside of that box. So they are creating a box around. So what we see is a limitation of that. What I would like to see is that more cooperation between the state and academic, but also about the purpose of the technology that we are using. Because if we don't do that, what we risk is only to limit it and to reduce the opportunity of a fintech. And we are talking about trillions, not billions, trillions of money that we are not generated because the regulation, they are limited the opportunity for student or for everyone to create something good.
That's amazing, Professor Maurizio. I would like to ask the same question to Kai. And again, the question is the following: how do regulations and policy frameworks impact the use of technology for financial inclusion? And also, what changes would you like to see in the regulatory environment to support this goal?
Yeah, it's a big question, and I agree with what everything that Maurizio has been saying so far. And my assumption that the content of this question is within education, including further education. So, in my humble opinion, policy frameworks has perhaps the biggest impact for the use of technology for financial inclusion within the content of education. Because don't forget, the whole education industry and the certification, and then including the kind of running of education industry, the standard of running is all heavily regulated by policy frameworks. And this policy framework is normally a very, very slow changing beast. Therefore, it's kind of like normally acting against the possibility to use the best of technology for whatever reason, including financial inclusion. Of course, the politicians will say that we're here to protect you, because we all know that technology is a double-edged sword. On one side, it can bring benefit for efficiency and financial inclusion, such as the example that Tommy just mentioned. On the other hand, it's opened the risk for the leak of data and the challenge, the kind of risk of perhaps losing the stability of the education certification framework. that is normally supported or recognized by the industry. Politicians, they don't like to make mistakes. They want to go through their terms with progress, but with no mistakes. So I think this fear is perhaps what's stopping the adaptation of technology. Now, interestingly, what we see is big events like COVID. Do you remember? I mean, if we want to do distant learning before, which obviously is good for financial inclusion, I mean, it was difficult because the teachers, the old policy, the way school needs to be run, which is a part of policy framework, is just totally against it. And all of a sudden, pandemic happens. All of a sudden, within 2 weeks, all the schools in UK have to do online teaching. It just demonstrates that, number one, technology has been ready, was there for a long time, right? But nobody is using that because of policy framework. And then when necessity comes, it's amazing. Even the most technology phobic teachers, they can learn how to use it within a matter of 1 day, and everybody is using that. We all reap the benefit. And this is across the board, primary school, secondary school, universities, and companies. To such a extent, it changed the way we work. So we know it's not technology, it's a policy. It's somebody willing to say, going to give it a try. So how do the policy framework need to change? They need to impact. They need to give more opportunity. They need to allow the kind of a recognition of the benefit. Give it a try and then analyze, rather than spending many years to debate on all aspects of the risk, which is impossible to gauge at the very beginning. Metaverse is another example. The biggest issue with metaverse is actually the data, because when you utilize metaverse to teach, the data is totally on the cloud. It makes certain people uncomfortable. But don't forget, we're already living in the age that a majority amount of our shopping is on internet. Majority of our banking is on internet. Then why can't we do all the learning through internet? Why can't we break down the big degree into micro-learning subject? I mean, this kind of things, they need to change. People need to be daring. Somebody needs to kind of like to be able to. I mean, the good thing about certain countries is that, like Australia have 8 states. Each state make their own policy. New South Wales centralize. They centralize all the policy as far as education is concerned. Victoria State, they actually make their own decisions. And I think if we communicate more, if we can share the best practice more, if we can share the lesson more, perhaps we can all allow ourselves to enjoy the benefit, and in the meantime, to share the best practice to guard against the risk. That is my contribution to this question. Thank you very much.
That's great, Kai. Thank you so much. That's great. I would like also to ask the same question to Dr. Riza. Again, how do regulations and policy frameworks impact the use of technology for financial inclusion? And also, what changes would you like to see in the regulatory environment to support this goal?
Thank you. And I'm so sorry for my kind of, limited availability. Funny enough, I'm reporting directly from the Dutch Parliament. I just stick to our blurred background policy, so I blurred it now, but I'm actually in the Parliament building. So they are putting regulation to regulate the whole industry. But it's very simple. It's a very fine balance between disruption and destruction. We can't allow technology to destroy what we have created like civilization so far. But we cannot also stop it, because it will be stopping innovation. So we cannot bring our civilization to a next level. Easy to say, very difficult to find the fine balance. So regulation, the trustless blockchain, for example, like, okay, it's a new way of looking at things. It's much better, much efficient. We know it works very well. But at the same time, how do we really feel to protect everything we have built so far? So if it's in the hands of the wrong people, could it really cause trouble? So, for example, the centralized education system, the whole Bologna Principle, higher education frameworks, all the accreditation, certification, whatever. So blockchain works. Already all universities are using blockchain technology to issue their diplomas. But can we really allow it to all algorithms to turn all accreditation into an algorithm? Probably yes. But then comes the big question is, how are we really ready for inclusion? Because inclusion also, any kind of privilege we have in our lives is in the way to reach real inclusion. Because, whenever you sit somewhere, you have certain acquired privilege, education, money, status, whatever. Like implicit, you don't want to lose it. But inclusion means allowing the same opportunity to everyone who even maybe didn't deserve it, but they have the ChatGPT, so they don't need to go to university now. My brother is a professor in statistics. He always complains that, high schools, they don't teach how to calculate derivatives. Do you really need to learn how to calculate derivatives today? A big question, okay, big debate. But we need to change our mind to really embrace inclusion. Are we really here for inclusion or not? Which means we are ready to get rid of our privileges. Big question, not easy to answer. But we know at the end of the day, those barriers will be overcome. Technology is here. Humanity is going towards a new level. Because if we don't create inclusion today in our mind, AI, one day when we fully rely on AI, if it happens, but most probably it will happen, even machine learning will be there to create a kind of society where, we pretty much exclude many things. So in order not to step into this trap, we need to really change our mind today to really embrace the inclusion, and then the rest will be easy. But again, coming back to regulation, it's a fine balance between disruption and destruction. We don't want to destroy what we have built so far, but without having disruption to create a new level, we got stuck, and we won't be able to solve the problems of climate challenge, the digital change, everything with today's society. Okay, we need to change our thinking, and technology is there to help us. But in order to allow it to help us, we need to change our mind to be more inclusive. So it's not easy. It's a very difficult topic. It's all about like making small mistakes and to learning from your own mistakes. I think the design thinking, approach, we should be applying in regulation as well. So regulation should be there also like version 1, version 1.1, version 1.2. So kind of test reiterations in order to find balance. But again, it will require a big change in the way we regulate ourselves and industries. But anyway, so lovely topic, great discussion. So sorry for like me talking, answering all questions all at once because of my limited capacity to be with you. But thank you very much, Christian, for the opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Riza, and thank you so much for sharing with us your very valuable insights. Okay, now again, one more question, and we start with Tommy. So looking ahead, how do you envision the future of technology in promoting financial inclusion, particularly with the involvement of higher education institutions?
Yeah, thank you. So based on what we've been talking about so far, it's glaring that for the future that we want and the future that we actually deserve, it is paramount that we have technology to get involved in what we need to do. It's important that we start to look at how can emerging technologies also integrate with the existing things that we currently have. And this is where, as we're talking about blockchain, artificial intelligence, so these are things that are coming to basically shape our world and is already shaping the world. But then we also definitely, as Dr. Riza just mentioned, have to be open to change. And for the world that we want to live in, we want to leave this world a lot safer. We want to make sure that the human mind is thinking a lot more intelligently. If we have tools that are helping us go beyond the barriers of, the simple things that we do right now, using our human intelligence to even think deeper. I'm not sure who said this, but I know that we are only basically using it, just a tenth of the capacity we have in our brain, because we're using a whole lot of it doing things that right now machines can actually do for us. And if we try to get machines to do those sort of things for us, that means that we could expand the capacity of our brain and tap into a higher level that we haven't tapped into so far. That's my own thinking, my own opinion. But I feel like the world that we want to see and how financial inclusion goes into this is basically looking beyond countries, looking beyond races, looking beyond religion, and actually saying, how do we create this for all? How do we make sure that we are integrating existing solutions with emerging solutions that are coming into places? And how do we make sure that in doing so, we're not excluding anybody? And this is the type of future that I'm looking forward to. This is the kind of future that I'm excited about. Are we making steps to it? Yes, but they are baby steps. I think that we need to start to make even a whole lot more stronger steps into making sure that no one is excluded. And when it comes to this, we still have a ton of people unbanked today. We have, when you go into emerging countries, you go into emerging market, they talked about the unbanked. They're trying to use blockchain to make sure the unbanked become banked. How do we make sure that this is possible faster enough? How do we leverage what is already on ground to make sure that we're able to do this in record time? And I think that if there's anyone that could do it, it's this generation. We have a generation of strong thinkers, a generation of people that are beginning to see that change is coming and we can't stop it. And I feel like once we open our minds to that, we will get the future we deserve. Thanks.
That's great. That's great answer, Tommy. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to ask you, Professor Maurizio, again, the same. Looking ahead, how do you envision the future of technology in promoting financial inclusion, particularly with the involvement of higher education institutions?
I was thinking when I was listening to Tommy, and the first example that in my life I've seen of an inclusion of someone that was in finance that was not included at all in fintech was in Shanghai in 2012, when for the first time I saw a beggar, so somebody that doesn't have anything, doesn't have a bank account, nothing, outside of the Catholic Church, where he got a deviance, where he collect money from that deviance. So they could not accept any more coin, but they could receive it money from these deviants. And from that moment, more and more and more have been developed. For example, in China, through WeChat, that you can transfer money or you can buy money. You can. I was astonished. That was 10 years, more than 11 years ago. So I was quite astonished. Of course, that was a different purpose to include in the last one, the people that doesn't have even a bank account, to be included in the society on the fintech. It was to have an idea of control. But since that moment, I got these two thoughts. From one side, if you want to be really include everyone to make more inclusive the fintech, you need to give them a deviance. And that deviance, that could be any kind of a computer or of a mobile phone, need to be available. And on the same time, if you want to be open, you're open to be very inclusive. You, on the same time, everything that is moving inside of a computer is traceable. So you have two big questions. One is the traceability. Open also a fact that you have someone who knows or any kind of movement of money, of whatever you're talking about. And on the same time, it's that you are under an open mirror, so everyone knows your life. It's quite amazing that Google and Amazon knows more in UK than our doctors. So in UK we don't have an ID card. In UK we do not have even only the COVID is under the vaccination. Otherwise, if you want to rebuild your vaccine situation from when you were a child, you need to have a card that is a printed card. So if you go to the doctor, they don't know your story. You have to tell them your story. On the same time, whatever you buy on Amazon, on Google, whatever you research is, there is a nice record with Dr. Maurizio Bragagni, whatever I'm doing, they know exactly what is my everything that I bought or whatever I know. So they know more than us. So whenever we're thinking about the future, I was always thinking that one, to be very inclusive, we have a limited, that is the limit of the availability of the energy and telecommunication, and that is the hardware. So if you cannot open that, if you do not have enough of that, you cut out a part of your society. On the same time, you need to have a very strong willingness by the government or by the society to include everyone. The example of China is you want to control everything, fine, but at least you need to want it really everyone in. Otherwise, you have a very large part of the society that is out. On the opposite, at the moment there is a few banks that they are trying in London to open a bank account to the people without anything. Why that? Because if you do not have a bank account, you do not have a proof of address. If you don't have a proof of address, you cannot have a bank account. If you don't have a proof of address, you cannot have a job. So if you have a bank account, you can have a job. And this is a quite a very big circle in London, in which there is a lot of charity, and Issue Life, one of my charities, helping to do that, because there is really the people that doesn't have anything, that they are totally excluded by the fintech, because no one care really of them. So, and that is what I've seen. I've seen that unless we help everyone, in particular, to give them the tools to be inclusive, to be part of this society, we are going to take out a very important part of us. The technology is there. I've seen also to be used it in China 10 years ago for a different purpose, but at the moment there is not the willingness of the inclusion really in our society.
Thank you so much, Professor Maurizio. That's a very wise answer. I would like to ask the same to Kai. I can see that Kai is being there waiting to give his opinion about that. What can you say, Kai, that has not been said already?
No, a lot has been said by Tommy and Maurizio. Really interesting that Maurizio mentioned this example he encountered in the city of Shanghai 10 years ago. I am right now in the middle of Shanghai. I'm setting up a new edtech company here in Shanghai after winning the entrepreneurial competition as a British company. It's really interesting. When you look at China, a while ago, we probably see China as a developing country. And but all of a sudden, I think, in my humble opinion, today, China is probably the most fast-moving country, if you call it a single country. China is like a lot of sub-countries together. My goodness me, Shanghai as one city has more GDP than a major European country. The complexity is immense. The current region I'm in, Shanghai, is very industrial, while the center of Shanghai is totally financial, etc., etc. Now, China these days, you can, as long as you have a mobile phone, of course, that's kind of like suggesting, implies that you do have a bank account, but you could have an internet bank account. Now, the mobile phone, the Alibaba company, and with the Ant finance service they have created, working to such extent that if you find a training course you want to enroll, and the training course costs so much money, you don't have to borrow money from bank, you don't have to borrow money from anybody. You can just like Ant finance can offer you a loan just based on your mobile phone record. And you can take out that loan. You can pay 2 years later. You can complete the course. You can get a job. But of course, you have to pay back. But you become the microfinance working to such extent. It's offered to everybody, any course. I mean, the number of financial means of paying for a course in China is so varied. It does make the rest of us, especially in the UK, just make that look silly. It's like we haven't changed at all. While in China, the way to pay for a course, the way to engage a course, and I have been given some really almost like on the street lectures here in China. So the way to learn is so varied. And in UK, we're very used to one version of podcast. I can tell you that in China, there's like probably 5 or 6 different podcasts. They offer teaching, they offer interactive courses. There's so many different platforms. In other words, there are a lot of technology, and some technology has completely changed the way finance is managed. Mauricio mentioned WeChat. WeChat is much more than a communication platform. It's a shopping platform. It's a banking service platform. I come from UK. I've been here for 2 weeks. I actually didn't use my bank card at all. I just purely used the money I left on WeChat. People can just pay money to me on WeChat. I can pay for any service on WeChat. If I don't have enough money, I can get loans on WeChat. As easy as that. Now, this level of financial inclusion is so well developed. I don't think you have any fear. In China, if you have a dream, you'll be able to get it. And right now, it's nearly midnight. I can tell you guys, there's a gentleman waiting at the lobby of my hotel, waiting to meet me. China is such a place that people just go crazy. They work, work, work. I'm not saying this is really good, but I'm saying that, I mean, it's really opened up. China is really not a kind of one-party draconian state, as many of the British media describe it. I'm a British. I come here, I can tell you it's really open. They adapt technology very, very fast. And a lot of sectors are open. And the cross-section between telecommunication service, the kind of internet web service, financial service, the education, access to education, and access to buy anything, and in the future, access to design your own product, to bring a service, is not totally integrated. It's more integrated than any country, and they're exporting this model somewhere else. I'm kind of hoping that Ant Finance can get the license to operate in UK. That will completely change the micro learning for many adults. We will have an opportunity to become a blockchain, an NFT expert. We don't have to code any smart contract. We can become NFT expert in minute. If we haven't become NFT expert in minute, I can tell you our sons and daughters, they will be able to sell NFT much quicker than us. And that's going to leave us behind and put us in a bit of a fear. And how do you solve the fear? You got to do something. And I think these are example of what China is happening. And for us, with the example I opened, I mentioned like the online learning, the capability is within us. We just need to get the best expertise, talk to them, get them to do some small trials. Let's do something rather than just talk about it. Thank you very much. Back to you, Christian.
That's great. That's great. That's great insight as well, Kai. Thank you for sharing. Now we are going to go to the last question, and we start with Tommy. So finally, in your opinion, how can we ensure the benefits of technological advances in the financial sector are equitably distributed and truly serve to promote financial inclusion?
I think the answer to that was just given by Kai, because if you think about it, it's all about opening up ourselves to change, opening up ourselves to understanding that technology is there. We just need to embrace it and work very fast. It's amazing what Kai just mentioned that you could do on WeChat. And this is basically, you can imagine the things you could do. Everyone has a mobile phone, or that's what we assume. For people that don't, how do we get them included? And that is the key thing here. For you to include, for you to truly have financial freedom, for you to have a full financial inclusion, you can't leave anyone behind. And to do that, education stands in the middle. You have to be able to educate people on how to do this. You have to be able to educate people on how to receive this. So I feel like not to waste a lot of time, because I know we're running behind. But in summary, I feel the way for us to get financial inclusion is to ensure that we constantly embrace change. We constantly understand that we have to include everyone, and we look for ways in which education can help us bridge that gap. And we could do that today through online education. The technology is there. We have to be fast enough to be able to embrace these technologies, we also have to be ready to fail. We understand that there is a privacy issue, there is data issues, and this is where regulation comes into place. We need to, our leaders need to understand that, you know, the world we are living in at the moment is a world where everyone wants to be included, everyone wants to move fast enough. And I would love to have, you know, what I just described on my phone, where people can pay me. I can use that as my phone. I can use that as every single thing. And so that's the world we are moving into. Technology is not going to slow down for us. So we have to catch up. Thank you.
That's great, Tommy. That's great. What about Professor Maurizio? How can we ensure that the benefits of technological advances in the financial sector are equitably distributed and truly serve to promote financial inclusion?
Well, I want to give the answer based on as an industrialist. So we need to make sure that a fiber optic is available to everyone, as energy is available to everyone, because the big threats that financial inclusion and all the technology that we are talking about, they got is the high cost of energy and the high cost of the not availability of fiber optic. This call was possible because there is a power and fiber optic. Whatever we're talking about is a fintech or whatever the innovation with the digitalization is just a computer connect to another computer or a server connect to another server via cables. So, and we have already seen that at the moment, for example, to mining cryptocurrency in Europe is not anymore convenient. The cost of the energy is too high. The information, they are not faster enough. In fact, they are moving all of them to east. So if we want to make sure really that fintech will be really proper inclusion to everyone, we need to make sure that the infrastructure that they are behind that allowed to exist this world, they work, and they need to be cheaper, faster, and available to everyone. And that is a big obstacle. The second thing is that we need also to make clear that because fintech, by principle of the definition of fintech, is just, if you want, sorry, but it's just a computer, a server that is to work something. If the key has been regulated in a very strict way, the risk is that we created not inclusion, but we exclude a part of the population. I give you an example. I'm a diplomatic because I'm a consul of San Marino. And as according to the UK law, I am a PPE, personal politically exposed, and so on, all my members of my family. So I'm still have a bank account in UK because I still have an HSBC bank account, because all the Wise, Monzo, all these new platform, as soon as I became a PPE, a person politically explode, because in their algorithm, they have to reduce that risk, they close all our accounts to all the member of family. So we need to be also try to help and to educate the people that they are behind the technology to study all the different kind of possibility. Because in this moment, all the politicians, for example, it's not only my experience, it's also the experience of Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor of Exchequer, that as soon as you became a PPE, a political person exposed, you are reduce the possibility to operate in fintech. So to sum up, and thanks again, Chris, for this opportunity, is fiber optic and energy available at very low cost, and also to make very sure that whatever is the new technology, they consider all the different small needs of different groups to make sure that is a proper inclusion.
Thank you so much, Professor Maurizio. Kai, what you can add on top of what he just said?
Since this is the last question, and since it's the weekend, and so I think I'm going to be, I'm going to cause a bit of a ripple here. While in agreement with Tommy and with Maurizio, I'm going to say that no, I actually don't think the benefit of technology advances in the financial sector are ever going to be truly equitably distributed, because yeah, maybe that everybody is we want to be equal, but the world is not equal. even UK as a country is not equal. Certain part of UK will be able to enjoy more of technology benefit than the other. I think it's important to accept that, especially when it's come down to technology advances or benefit of technology advances. The people who are more technical kind of philic, more interested in technology, who spend more time to understand the benefit of technology, who made the investment, and sometimes this investment do not pay back, they are there to have more opportunity to know the technology better. And knowing is value in a fast-changing technology world. And take ChatGPT, for example. Very quickly, you see certain countries will jump out to ban the usage of ChatGPT in kind of a K-12 sector. And some other countries are more open to that. Microsoft invest in that. Now, who do you think will benefit more from ChatGPT? Of course, Microsoft. They invest in it, but they also stand to actually suffer from the potential risk if other technology come and overtake it. And I think while it's really romantic to assume that kind of like the equitable enjoyment of benefit is what we wanted, but we must also remember that we need to allow certain flexibility for the institution or regions who want to make the investment to take the risk of trying new technology to actually enjoy the benefit of technology more. So it's a bit of like catch-22 there. Now, after the benefit of certain technology is fully proven, then perhaps we can make it equally available to everyone. And then that becomes a matter of policy as well as financial investment. You've got to be able to pay for it. And that is not easy. And if it's not easy, then involve private money, involve more charitable organization who has more money, or involve everybody to contribute, because to make education financially inclusive is the best way to bring all of us the security and continuous sustainable development, and help us to solve a lot of bigger challenges the world is facing. Thank you very much. I hope that's helpful.
Indeed, help, Kai. Thank you so much for your take as well. Now it's up to Dr. Riza to give us, if he's still with us. No, he had to suddenly run. He was very kind to dedicate us some time. Very good, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I have one last question for each one of you. If you wanna add anything that you think that's that just to finalize the discussion of today, I'm gonna give you a little bit of space to each one of you to leave a final remark from each one of you, and then we can close the session. So we can go first with Tommy.
Okay, so final remark, I've definitely enjoyed this panel. It's been insightful. And I think that based on what we are all saying and what we are looking at, it's interesting, the world that we all want. But then, like Kai just mentioned, in as much as we want that, we understand that it might not happen exactly the way we want it to be, but then we just continually have to work towards it. And this is it. It's like, and in doing that, we leave the world a better place. We make sure that we tap into the purpose of why we're here, and we make sure that we try to create as much financial inclusion to the world as much as possible. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Now, one last word from Professor Maurizio.
So first, thank you to Tommy, Kai, and you, Christian. I really enjoyed this opportunity. And I want just to remark one thing. FinTech, it's really an opportunity to help people. My charity, Share the Life in Digital Era, that we created with a few CAS alumni on Palo Alto 10 years ago or more. We support a lot of children and a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs in Kenya. And one of the way how to help the microcredit, to help to the possibility to have a bank account, to save some money and to start an initiative in Kenya, it is thanks to fintech. So thanks to some local application, which you have a mobile phone, doesn't cost a lot of, with a possibility of connectivity to the telecommunication, so that you do not carry on the money with you, so that you are not a risk to be robbed in a slum, that you are not risk to be killed, because the mobile phone secure your identity, the mobile phone secure your password, and so the money are still there, and then you can have a small credit and you can start it to deal in and to create some activity. So this is an example in which fintech can really disrupt in a way that you can share it, you can distribute money, you can even pass money in security, as was mentioned by Kai with the WeChat. You can have money in your WeChat transfer. You are secure that you don't risk to lose. Of course, you are controlled, because whoever controls that platform knows everything about you. That is an evidence of that. But say that fintech is absolutely an incredible opportunity to disrupt our society, but at the same time to give opportunity from people that they never receive it. However, that is only possible if there is a mobile phone available, if there is a deviance available, if there is a connectivity available, if there is an energy available. The next decades, the big challenge will be the cost of the energy and the availability of information, means the availability of data, and it means the availability of fibers. So the countries that they are not investing in these two pillars, energy and telecommunication, in a strong way, they are risking to be behind the next revolution. And I tell you one thing, Europe is the country that is behind to everyone else, because countries like Dubai, they built their own infrastructure in fibers, so there is already there. Like country like China, that are investing massively in infrastructure. Country like Europe, it's absolutely behind that. And the high risk is that even though we have a very strong education, even though we have a very strong high education, we have a very strong finance, for example, here in London, because the infrastructure of energy and telecommunication, they are not at the level that they should be, we risk to lose everything.
That's great. Great words. Thank you so much, Professor Maurizio. Now, one last word from Kai Liang.
I feel I'm really under pressure talking after Maurizio every time, because it's difficult to kind of like raise that level. So I'm going to do this very cheaply. First of all, I want to say that artificial intelligence, don't talk too much about AIGC. Artificial intelligence is not very intelligent. It's far from being intelligent enough to really help us. So that's the reality. Come from me as a deep technology. Number two, get onto metaverse. You got to get on the metaverse. Metaverse is matured and is impactful. Devices and technology contents are all there already. Number three, to just join more dialogue like this, and to talk to the expert, to talk to people who have lots of experiences, and to talk to people who love to share, and also offer your own insight. Communication, this is the best way to learn. And then, of course, we're all doing something already. And then when we trade what we've done, what we've learned, and then we create a community of more knowing and more confident. Thank you very much. And I'm so happy to be able to join such a fantastic panel and make friends with all of you.
That's great, Kai. That's great. The happiness was mutual. Actually, I would like also to have one last word from Mr. Hakan Kandaner, the UK country chair of the World Business Angel Week 2023, to create this opportunity and to give the possibility to us to share the knowledge and our wisdom with all of the participants. Up to you, Mr. Hakan. You are muted.
Thank you so much, Professor Christian, and thank you for the amazing panel, everyone. And on behalf of World Business Angels Forum, I would like to thank each of you for your participation today. And it was a great panel. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hakan. So on behalf of the World Business Angel Investors Week 2023 in UK, I would like to give a big thank you to the esteemed panelists, Tommy Edwards, Professor Maurizio Bragagni, Kai Liang, and Dr. Riza Kadilar for their valuable insights on the theme of global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion. And also, obviously, to Mr. Hakan Kandaner, the UK Country Chair of the World Business Angel Week 2023. Thank you so much.
Dear speakers, guests, and friends, I would like to thank again all our speakers and partners for joining us in Angels Week in United Kingdom, for sharing your wisdom and leadership with the world. As we come to the end of this inspiring event focused on global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion, I stand before you with a sense of profound hope, determination. The United Kingdom, with its rich heritage and higher education and its commitment to fostering innovation, has been an ideal host for this event. The discussions and exchanges that have taken place within this event are testament to the power of collaboration. We have witnessed firsthand the extraordinary potential that emerges when individuals and institutions from diverse backgrounds come together, united by a common purpose. The commitment, passion, and dedication displayed by every one of you give me a great confidence that we can achieve our shared goal of increasing financial inclusion. What we can do moving forward? Firstly, we must prioritize collaboration and partnerships between higher education institutions, governments, and the private sector. Secondly, we must invest in education and capacity building. We recognize the transformative power of education in addressing the barriers to financial inclusion. Higher education institutions have a responsibility to equip students with skills, knowledge, and values necessary to become agents of change. By integrating financial inclusion into curricula, offering training programs, and providing opportunities for practical engagement, we can nurture a new generation of leaders who are equipped to drive inclusive growth and sustainable development. Thirdly, we must champion research and knowledge sharing. Higher education institutions have a unique responsibility to conduct rigorous research, generate evidence, and disseminate knowledge that we can inform policies and practices. Therefore, we must encourage interdisciplinary research, collaboration across borders, and the sharing of best practices to create a strong foundation for sustainable, inclusive financial systems. Lastly, we must embrace technology as an enabler. Digital innovation has revolutionized the way we conduct transactions, manage our finances, and engage with financial institutions by leveraging emerging technologies such as mobile, banking, blockchain, artificial intelligence. We can bridge the gap between the unbanked and the formal financial sector, creating new avenues for economic participation and growth. We must collaborate, harness these technologies, making them accessible, affordable, and user-friendly for all individuals, regardless of their level of digital literacy. In conclusion, let us be guided by the words of Nelson Mandela, who said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Together, through education, collaboration, and innovation, we can create a world where every individual has the opportunity to participate fully in the economic and social fabric of society. Thank you.